Welcome to Force Pro Sports Laserforce Podcast with your host, Mr. Mischief.
Hey everybody, welcome to Force Pro Sports. My name is Mr. Mischief. I am an extremely amateur laser tag sports analyst, and welcome to our Power Rankings show for Internationals 2026, hosted by Syracuse, New York. Today, this year, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. I have this year going by Oguri Cap from Syracuse, New York, the home site, and Rusty, the all-time great from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome on, guys.
Hello, sir.
Today we are going to be breaking down the 10 teams going to Laserforce Internationals and giving our spicy hot takes on who we think is going to place where, and have some fun debate and shout out some players. Welcome on, guys. How do you feel today?
Pretty good so far.
I didn't know that was you. I'm going to change my ranking now. A Oguri Cap. We'll put you down at 8th.
Live, just dropping some
I just
spots
use the same name.
Anyway. All right.
It could be worse. I could change my name once every month, like half of Loveland does.
I won't even talk about that. That's egregious. I've changed my name once, and it was forced. That's another story. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Okay, so we've had some last minute updates. We're trying to make the show as fresh as possible. I forgot to put the new slides in the slideshow, so while I'm putting those in, Cody, give us the lowdown on what the vibe is like in Syracuse. 3 weeks from hosting the tournament, like what's going through everybody's minds?
At least with the people that I've been talking to, we're just excited and ready for it to start. And at least on my end, doing this a couple weeks out is just getting me more and more ready for it. It's kind of like making it finally click, like, oh, we're only a couple weeks away from this, and I even get a head start by playing an Armageddon too. So see, it gets the build up is even bigger for me. I know Beans is just excited for all of the stuff to start kicking off. I think the B team is like just they're itching for the practice we got coming up tomorrow, just to get more and more ready for the week. I think we're just excited.
Wonderful. Well, so that's you. You're about to defend your home site. The vibes there, like I know what that's like. It feels very daunting and surreal as it gets closer and closer. But Rusty, you are the defending. I mean, you just won last year. You are the current international champion. You're not coming out this year. What's it like to be, home watching from the stream?
Well, I did make it clear that I was never going to come with whether or not we won or lost. But I was really hoping we would have more of a turnout. Because I mentioned to you guys earlier, I think we had almost two full teams at one point. Now we have two players, which is a little bit disappointing, but still glad we've got someone attending. But yeah, any tournament I can't attend, or the things that the shindigs that are thrown, I always try and jump on, check out and see what's happening. But it's sometimes really hard to follow along because, again, I don't know who is who because everybody changes their name and it just drives me nuts. But yeah, I'll be honest. I've played. It'll be my 30th year in a couple of months of playing Laserforce. So I'll never say I'm ever gonna get sick and tired of being involved in some capacity or at least watching. So yeah, sad we couldn't be there. I've got a 2-year-old. That was always going to be really tricky for me to go, and new business and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm very keen to see how this pans out just based on who I've played in the past. And coincidentally, I may have said this to several people, Syracuse is probably my favorite arena in the US because I played there in 2011. That was my third Nats in the US. So keen to see how it all shakes out. Carpet, one level, all that fun stuff. So
I was going to ask you. Yeah, this is a great arena. Just off the top, I know we have a lot to get through, but I've described Syracuse as like kind of the most SM5 arena out of all of them. Like there's like if SM5 were a video game, this would be level 1. You start in this arena where you just have the 2 sides, single floor. It looks like it's built for the game. And I think it allows people to play at their best without adding in a ton of external factors you have to account for, like climbing up tons of stories or being able to make weird shots through uniquely designed windows or things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can play it too, just because you can actually go so many different ways to get a reset, and that's why it was so much fun. Because
Yes.
you felt like you could just essentially hunt someone down without really ever having to follow their path at all. Which
Every spot's got like 6 different ways to get to it, so.
and it's got carpet.
Yes. The lovely carpet.
Yeah, I mean it. Like, obviously, I'm biased. Brisbane's number 1, but yeah, Syracuse would be right behind it. And plus, when you get old, 1 floor, no stairs, carpet. Yeah, I'm a little bit sad I'm not there, to be honest.
For sure. Well, I'm sad that you're not there too, but we can have you be part of the tournament here by including you in the power rankings show. We're glad to have you on, Cody. Glad to have you on. Why don't we dive in?
Let's do it.
Welcome.
Ready.
2026 power rankings. First of all, my amazingly edited slide. Just a reminder that ForceProSports has changed its mission a little bit. If you support us on Patreon, I'm basically starting a big piggy bank for the Loveland site. If all the funds will be used to send Lovelanders to future tournaments, ideally like rookie and newer Lovelanders. SM5 changed my life greatly. I'm sure it's changed you guys as well. It'd be really cool to let more people have those opportunities, especially like teens and young adults who aren't financially in the greatest spot. Like it's hard at that stage of life. So support us on Patreon if you like what we do, and help new people get into the scene. All right, gentlemen. Each of you gave me one. Who is one player that you are excited to see play in Nats this year? Now I'm going to jump in to start because I also asked the community, and we got a significant number of votes for one player in particular. You'll never guess who it is.
He just spends too much time in Discord, that kid. Sure, he's got a job, but I wouldn't have known.
Receiving about 75% of the vote for player to be excited for, Prawn Boy from Brisbane, Australia. Almost at 1,000 missions, 2nd place from the BDRL, playing a lot of amazing scout last year in Brisbane. Brent, I want to let you comment on this first.
Yeah, he's got good potential. I've said it for a few years. He's just got to stay dialed in on the task at hand and not let external factors in the game potentially drag him off track. But when he has a good game, he has a good game. So he's definitely. I get frustrated at him a lot because if he just forgot about what just happened 2 seconds ago, or as quickly as he can, just keep the pressure on. He'll do well. And the parts of the Brisbane arena obviously will have similarities to some of the Syracuse arena. So I think that's going to come in handy for him. So let's just see if they can get their rotation right for him to be as effective as possible.
Be curious of Cody's thoughts on that. How do you think he's only played in Brisbane? How will that translate to Syracuse?
I mean, it's kind of hard to judge until somebody actually does it. It's one of those mysteries that we have in our community, is whenever somebody has played a long time at one site and then goes somewhere else for the first time, it's like, how well can they adapt to different scenarios? Because you have some people that going to a different arena is like, it's almost no different than playing at their home. And then you have some people that go to a different arena and it's like they're learning the game all over again. It's just how well can somebody adapt to a new situation that they've never been in before.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, if you're going from Brisbane to Syracuse, Syracuse to Brisbane. Like Brisbane, you have to worry about getting shot behind from up top. If you're down, getting shot from downstairs, upstairs. Whereas you're either going to get shot in the back, from the side, or in front of you in Syracuse, and it's one level. You don't have to move your eyes anywhere else. So, you know, I would say you've got a better chance of slotting into a Syracusey type maze for a Nats with lots of experience if you've only played on one Brisbane site, say, or a Loveland site. As opposed to the other way around. If you're not used to just having to go, oh man, I don't have to get shot from upstairs or downstairs. This is awesome. So we'll see. I think you'll enjoy the arena. So.
Well, I'll just say I don't doubt his potential. I think that's a word that I was thinking of, Rusty. The fact that, you know, him and his team were able to take second against the competition last year. Yes, home field advantage, but like not every B team can do that. That's pretty incredible. And he had like I remember he had like a 9K scout game at one point. Like he was pretty well putting up the numbers, pulling weight on the team. So I don't know what his ceiling is going to be this tournament, but I don't doubt that he can, well, basically live up to the Brisbane name. I'm going to move on to the next one here.
Don't shit the bed.
Yeah. Rusty's watching. Cody, you put Sparks as your player that you're excited for. Why don't you lead us off with that?
So my thoughts behind
From
this
Loveland,
is,
Colorado.
Yes, I had a theory a little while back, before some of the newer Loveland players started to come to Syracuse between the last couple shindigs that we had, is that in years past, Loveland players have traditionally not performed very well in Syracuse, and vice versa. Syracuse tends to not perform that great in Loveland, and I think that's mostly just because our arenas are about as polar opposite from each other as you can get. So it's a big transition for players from either site going to the other one. My thought is that any of the Loveland players that either started off by mostly playing or exclusively playing Laserball, which you guys play as a one floor only game, are going to transition pretty well to Syracuse, considering that they started off by playing only having to worry about one floor and playing parallel paths and stuff like that on a single level. And I think from what I've seen is that theory has been kind of looking pretty good with like Azra, Babe, and Sabo coming over here, and Lizzie, who have all had their first out of arena experiences in Syracuse. And I think that Bradley's going to be like the ultimate test of that theory here. Because I think, at least from what I've seen from him playing with you guys, he's a very similar to like how Zach was in Syracuse. He's started off young, figured out the game almost immediately, and just shot up in level really fast. So I think he's going to be like the ultimate test of that theory that I have about Laserball players transitioning to Syracuse.
Rusty, have you heard of Sparks at all? He would have been White Ninja.
This will be reflected
in
in my guesstimates. This of where people are going to finish. Yeah, 2017 already played 2,000 games. Like that's some pretty solid.
So you were watching 2024, right? He would have been White Ninja on Loveland B. He was the 14-year-old kid playing heavy.
I would have remembered that if it was the same name. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
let's see. I like the analogy to see.
Yeah, for sure. I can't say enough great things about Sparks. He's extremely talented, great person, very fun to play with. I look forward to seeing how he does too. I think this is his first time outside the Loveland arena, and I do love that theory. I've definitely noticed that the Laserball enthusiasts of our site bring something a little different to the table. They think of the game a different way than those of us SM5 purists. So if that theory is true, that's I really hope it's true, Cody. Great for Loveland and great for the Laserball scene as well. Kind of validate that maybe SM5 players can gain something from playing some ball. Rusty, you said Beans was your player you're excited for. You want to lead?
Yeah, I feel like because I met him in 2010 in Chula Vista, and like every Nats I've played against him, he has these like awesome games where he just shits on everybody, and I'm like, man, he's got it together. And then unfortunately, I don't know, something goes wrong with the team, or he rolls his ankle, or injures his foot, or
Breaks
just
his arm.
axes himself, and then he's kind of like only to go at 70%, and it impacts how he can kind of finish the tournament. So I'm hopeful in his own arena. He's played truckloads of games. He's got a team around him that he's played tons of games with. He knows the arena so well, he shouldn't run into anything by accident. I just really want to see him do well. I want to see him just pump and just have a really good tournament and carry and do really good. Because there's just been so many times where I think, there's been the potential there for him to have contributed to his team in different ways, and it's kind of just been, taken away from him a little bit, whether or not it's a team thing or an injury. Beans, this is your time to shine, my friend. Let's do it. Make it happen.
It's his third time to shine. got a couple of Nats that some rough things have happened. I find Beans, I find you enigmatic. Sometimes the way you speak about yourself, your site, the game, like you seem very casual, laid back, for fun. And then when you get in the arena, like you nearly 550 games or 5,500 games. Like this is Beans' passion. Like he has been at every single Nats ever since he started playing. This guy is a laser tag fanatic. And I want to see him do well. Absolutely.
Do it, Beans. Do it.
Cody, what's your thought? This has been your like 3-hit partner traveling to tournaments with you for the last few years.
Well, considering he's on my team, I would also hope to see him do very well this tournament.
Oh, good.
Because it would be very good for us if he did, which I expect that he will. The whole home site and whatnot, and nobody has played more games at this home site than he has. I don't foresee any issues that come up from at least him on the team that would be any kind of detriment to us as a whole or his performance. So
yeah, 100%. All right.
Touching wood, Beans. Touching wood.
All right. It's my show, so I get to do whatever the heck I want. And last year, I put Azra as my player that I was excited for, and then she got to Brisbane and basically was like in fetal position on the floor the entire tournament. She couldn't really play. She was having some body issues that were making it a miserable time for her. So I declare that I get to put her as my player I'm excited for once again. She gets a mention. She's healthy. She's just awesome. Like I can't say enough great things about her too. She's also caught a lot of random strays this year. Just people talking smack about her and doubting her. And you know what? I'd bet anybody money this is the best tournament we ever see from her. Just saying that. All right. Anyone want to make a bet with me over under on some MVP or something? Hit me up. I am standing behind Azra. She's on my fantasy team, and she's gonna show the haters. But my real, yeah. If either of you have comments, sorry.
Oh no, I felt bad for her last year. Anyone actually being able to leave the United States of America and go to any other country, I have an appreciation for. But to not be able to enjoy the week and feeling miserable and actually trying to play laser tag at a high level, it's hard work on a good day. Even something a little niggly can make your life miserable. But I did see glimpses of what Azra could potentially have done if she was healthy for the full week. So hopefully we get to see that in action this week. Oh, this NAS. Sorry.
Yeah. Cody, anything?
I can say she's going to get a little bit of an edge, I think, at the start at least, because she gets a head start on getting the legs moving and playing shape and some arena time because she's playing on my Armageddon team beforehand.
Oh, cool.
So
Heck
she
yeah.
gets to get a little bit of a head start on preparing for the tournament. So that'll definitely help.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, go get him, Sammy. But the player that I'm going to declare for this year is Autumn. As long as I've known Autumn, which I believe I met her back in 2015 when the scene came out to Loveland, Autumn's never played on the California A team, despite being not only one of their most experienced players, but also the person that like coordinates all their trips and is kind of like one of the site leads. Yes, there have look, I think when people talk about Autumn, and I'm only gonna say this because like Autumn, you've heard it so many times. Like people will mention the mobility. She has trouble with mobility sometimes. Well, Syracuse is excellent for all players. It is the one floor arena. It enables everybody to run, strategize, find the angles. And I'll talk about her more when we get to her team because I don't want to like spoil everything. But the role that I am predicting she's going to play this year, I actually think she may be freaking perfect for. Kind of similar with Azra. Like I think Autumn has often been hampered by not having as much to work with playing on some of these B teams. I think this year we're going to be surprised by her having the resources and the team around her to really make her shine. I wouldn't be surprised if people are underestimating her a little too much. I mean, you look at the number of missions and Syracuse SM5 missions for an out of towner. I think she's going to kick some ass. I'm excited to watch it. Any thoughts?
No, you're right. There's certain players that come along and contribute to their arenas if they still have them in different ways, but to still be sticking it out regularly, playing, traveling, and all that sort of stuff is very admirable. And yeah, you're right. Syracuse carpet, one floor. I did notice she'd played a couple of hundred, 211 games in Syracuse. It's a lot.
It's
That's
a lot,
of games.
yes.
So it should be able to just slot straight into remembering where to go and where the resupply is going to run to and whatnot. So no, I hope she has a good week.
Cody, anything?
Well, she, along with the rest of the Cali crew, have traveled out here, I think twice now in just the last year, getting ready for this Nats. And there's between her, Disco, and the whole rest of the team as well. There's just been tons of development every time they show up when they get here, which is a big deal when you're coming to a tournament that's going to be played here. It's a huge edge just to be able to get that practice, which would definitely contribute to performance in the tournament itself. So it's going to be interesting to see for her and everyone else on that team how much that's going to pay off coming into it.
All right. Okay. I'd like to do this quick warning before we start the show or before we start the going through the rankings. Just if you're listening to this and I speak as someone who has pride and ego and doesn't like when people criticize me, there may be some potentially harsh criticisms for you and your team on this show. We're going to be ranking, and that means someone's got to be last, someone's going to be lower. Like every time we put someone high, we're putting someone below, and it's like basically all three of us don't believe in somebody. at least over the teams that they're facing, right? Like these are the best laser tag players in the world at Laserforce Internationals. All these teams could kick general public's butt, you know? But like just know this is what we're getting into. So I'm asking you guys, I think it's respectful that criticisms are game related. And remember everyone, these are just our personal opinions. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, remember for everyone that even if you are the lowest ranked team in this, you're ranked higher than anyone who didn't show up.
Absolutely. Like Rusty.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not even on the list. I didn't make it. I'm washed.
All right.
No, I agree with you, but I'm not going to be talking too much shit. I might about a couple of people.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
All right, here we go. All right, coming in at number 10, Syracuse Expendables. I'm going to read this a little bit off the top. So,
Where'd you get that photo?
that is off of Facebook. Look, it's got Laserforce in the back.
Like yours too. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, ripped yours, Cody, off Facebook as well from that's your Nats 25 photo. Okay, so the power rank, the community, I put up a poll and the community voted on all these things, and each person, you rank each team on a scale of 1 to 10, how powerful you think they are. So that is the average that the community ranked this team at a 2.7. They have the 9th most average missions, so second to last, and the 4th most average Syracuse SM5 missions. Axeman, Mama Bear, Doge Buster, Razor Wires, Nobody, and Woes, I believe is how you pronounce it. And we're going to start with whoever puts the team lowest is going to start first. So, Cody, you and I put Syracuse Expendables in last, and Rusty, you have a little more faith in them. Just because I think it's really funny. Cody, why did you put your C team in last place? Got another Glader situation here.
My biggest gripe with them right now is the fact that we've had a year plus planning for this tournament coming up, and I don't believe that they had a true practice with their full team until 2 weeks ago, which is for a team that is this new to the scene and doesn't have as much experience. That is a big deal. That is going to potentially hurt. They're very close, I think, to the team that I have above them and that I would anticipate is probably going to be the next one that shows up. But at least as of right now, knowing how little practice that they have received and how much the team that I have above them has been working, as a betting man, I'm putting them just behind them right now. I could very easily see that flip, but I'm gotta go off my gut right now. This is just how I'm feeling it at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go next. I can tell you that it was really close between this and the 9th place team for me. Very close, actually. I believe, was it Raz was going to be on this team?
Correct.
Okay. I don't know Raz. I don't think I know Raz. He seemed like he might be one of the better players on this team if he were going to be playing, at least from like my stat research. But there's not that much to find on a lot of these players. They haven't played in very many tournaments or really any. I think Axeman was in 21, right?
Yes.
He was there in 21 when I came out for Fake Nats. Axeman had some really good vibes, and I can tell he plays really hard. So I like having him on this team. But there's just a big lack of tournament experience and the lack of structure from not having the practices. I think that's going to be a little bit of a theme tonight anyway for me, is just like Syracuse hasn't been able to get the practice games. I do like that we got a family dynamic going on. I believe Axeman and Mama Bear are married, right? And one of their kids playing with them?
Nobody, yep.
Nobody is... Okay, cool. And then is there another pairing? Is Dogebuster and Razor Wires related?
Yep, Razor Wires is Dogebuster's father.
Okay, so we got the power of family here. That's kind of cool, actually. I've never really seen that much like family playing together. And lastly, I just say I saw Woes on the she was on Tivia's podcast, and she was talking a bit about her story, and she seems like a really hard worker, like someone who like fights to have her place in the community. I think she said she was kind of a defensive player. Cool. I see the pieces. Like there seems like there's the pieces here for a solid team if they can like figure out their roles, take it seriously. Like the competition's just going to be really steep. So I like want the best for them. But I unfortunately see them that by day 6 in finals, I worry that they're not going to be able to make it out of 10th. That's my prediction. But Rusty, you believe. What do you got?
They play in Syracuse. That's where my confidence comes from. Obviously, I haven't played against any of them. I noticed couple of other names and a couple of other teams that I thought could potentially influence where that finishes up for them as well. But I think there'll be a lot of people around during the week, non-Syracuse players that may be able to add some value to them in terms of maybe some suggestions around who plays what and who does what when. And maybe that will actually be able to help them improve. That's not to say they don't nail it from the start and get a few unexpected wins. But I think there's just something to it where sometimes you need to hear some things from other people you don't see all the time. Feedback. But anyway, let's see. But I think there is something to just knowing the arena. And if you do get your lineup correct, maximize it as you know, it can make a huge difference in the outcome of any game. So
yeah,
that's why I went the way I did.
I got that sense from both your B and C team last year, Rusty, that they really took it seriously, took feedback. Was that the case?
Oh, they experimented a lot and tried different matchups and different things. And yeah, I was saying up until the tournament, maybe they needed to tweak it a little bit, and they ended up probably playing the lineup that I thought was going to suit them best in the end, and they did really well. So, but I think, I don't know who gave them that feedback, but I think they figured it out, which is good. But again, if they haven't really played a lot together, the first round is always a good time to make mistakes and make adjustments. So there's a lot of laser tag to be played that week, for sure. And maybe there'll be a practice night as well, right? So hopefully everyone can get in there and hopefully they get to practice against a similar team and see how they go.
I think everybody on this team is also playing in Armageddon beforehand as well, so they're at least going to have the playing legs underneath them. They're on different teams. They're not on the same team, but they're all playing. They're going to be getting in the arena. They're going to be getting the legs moving around, so they'll all have that.
See, you got to love laser, to do Armageddon and then play a Nats. You clearly enjoy laser tag. So that gives me a little bit more hope where it's like, well, if you play laser tag, I would like to think you want to do well.
Yeah,
I can tell you for free, I wouldn't have continued playing if I just lost the time and didn't try and improve. So no, you could do it. Let's go, everyone I haven't met. Let's go.
See, I wish that I knew that, Cody. Because part of my ranking's probably not the most informed. I don't know any of these people. But just knowing that they haven't had a full practice together until just recently, that left me to believe there may have been an element of casualness to these players. Oh yeah, let's just play in this tournament. We'll take the week off. We'll have a good time. And that, frankly, was... I didn't really know how to phrase it. That was part of my concern. But if they're all also taking a second week off to go play Armageddon, then I'm starting to get more of the vibe that these are all fanatics. They love tag. That's cool. And that removes that thought from my head that they're casual about this.
Well, I can add that 4 of the 6 actually started off playing tag on a different system. Because Axeman, Mama Bear, Nobody, and Woes all were originally Tron players. Woes would probably still classify as one, that's still her main system, but the other 3 have been playing with us so much the last few years that you could probably almost argue that they're Force players at this point, but they've all started off at other systems, transferred over to here on top of playing in Armageddon. So they play enough. They play plenty. It's just the lead up to Nats itself has been kind of a downturn in the amount of games getting in.
Okay. So I do want to comment on maybe the path that I see forward for this team before we move on. If they were to do better than 10th, it would be because 1, they all lock in, they take it really seriously. 2, Rusty's advice, get advice from people and be humble to listen, because there's a lot of players who've been playing for a very long time, and be willing to play the role that you need, even if it's like not your favorite role, or the role that like maybe you want to switch up roles, but we need to like build the synergy. And my eyes are on Axeman. He's the only one I know, but I can tell how intense he plays, and I want to see him just like go manhandle some teams.
Nice way to end that one.
Yeah. Lastly, Cody, like you're the site, you're on the A team. Like, do you have any suggestions for them just here on the air?
I think this is something that they'd probably have to figure out themselves while playing, but at least from what I've seen in their recent practices, and I am not the only person who thinks this, I personally think the lineup that they're working on going into Nats with is not the one they should be running.
Okay.
I think there's a couple changes they could make that could improve their potential, but given that this is a lot of their first time playing in the tournament, I think this is one of those things that you figure out by experiencing it. So
Okay.
we'll see how that goes. We'll see if they either reach out to see what suggestions are, or if maybe they figure it out on their own. We'll see. I could be wrong. The lineup they're running right now could end up being the best one that they end up having. It's just I have a feeling it's not.
If any of you want to come talk to me, I'd be happy, like even just to meet you. But like, I love talking tags, so I'm happy to talk to. I think there's 25 people who would love to like deep dive into your team with you if you need any help. Like, please reach out, guys. All right, let's move on. Coming in at number 9, Armageddon. Rusty Doubts at 10th place, while the rest of us have them at 9th. Their power rank is only 0.2 higher rated by the community, so they are neck and neck with the Syracuse Expendables. They have the least average amount of total Laserforce missions played at 310, but number 6 in average Syracuse SM5 missions. Rusty, you have the floor.
I guess they did have a few Space Marines games under their belt, but I did notice Grumpy and Papa Smurf were on the lower end of that.
5.
Yeah, 5 and 5. A lot can go wrong after only 5 games of Laserforce in a particular arena. But when you've only played 10 and 9, there's still some of the fundamentals that you need to probably learn, I think. So that was, it was just as simple as the other team had home field advantage. That's where they played a ton of their games. And I think Grumpy and Papa Smurf probably the key factor of why I did put them at 10th. I just think it's going to take a bit of time to catch up. But I could absolutely be wrong, as you well know. So, and of course I played Redneck Tech is the only person I played on there, and I know he can contribute and do really well in games. So depending on what he ends up playing, he could, easily have a big impact. But I still think Grumpy will be the bit that will decide where they finish, in my opinion.
Awesome. Cody, you're the Armageddon guy. Why don't you take the floor and I'll fill in the gaps.
All right, so my thoughts with this team is there's a lot of effort being put in amongst this team to prepare for this tournament. It's more than I've seen from any Armageddon team in the past. They have experience in playing with RNT, who's played in God knows how many Nats at this point. He's been traveling to so many different places. Stealth Elf, who is a local Cuse player who would probably be B team material if he was available for Nats earlier. You have Skills, who has recently started transitioning over to Force, coming from Blast, who has, as you can see by the number of SM5 missions in Syracuse, been traveling out here whenever Baden and Stu have come out here to work on the game. He's put those 90 Syracuse SM5 missions have probably all come in like the last 6 months. So he's been putting a lot of work in recently. So they're going to be likely the core 3 of the team. The other 3 are the wild cards. Play Buttercraft is my younger brother. He has been playing for a while, but he's never played in a tournament, and he plays very on and off. Like, I'd say probably maybe only a couple times a year before the lead up towards Nats. So he might be a Syracuse player, but he's almost certainly our least experienced one out of everyone from Cuse that is playing in the tournament. Grumpy and Papa Smurf are both pure Armageddon players. They have never played any Force games, to my knowledge, outside of Armageddon. So that is going to be the big learning experience is coming from them. I have some hopes for them that they'll figure it out by the end of the week, especially Papa Smurf, because they were both originally Quest players, and Quest is, for all intents and purposes, a dead system at this point. They happen to live close to one of the few active Storm sites that are going on and started playing that. And from what I've heard, Papa Smurf learned how to play Storm very fast. So if he has that kind of adaptability, especially in a tournament scenario, I'm interested to see how much he especially progresses starting from day 1 to the end of the tournament. And I say that whole aspect of their potential is the main reason I put them slightly above our C team.
Yeah, awesome. I kind of agree with you. The motivation was a big piece for me. I got to have skills on the podcast where he, like, I think I treated him as less experienced than he actually was. He's actually got quite a bit of SM5 experience, but he sat there and he acted like he had never played before and listened to what I had to say about, like, the basics of the game. And he had a whole bunch of questions. And Redneck Tech, I love the pairing of these two. I think their personalities are just like two of like the greatest chums I've ever met. Like I think they're gonna have a good time and really put the effort into making this team something. I haven't met Stealth Elf, but I've seen their name pop up in the last few SM5 Syracuse tournaments. They seem like they could be a really good supportive role filler. I don't know your brother, Cody, but the name recognition makes me probably value him a little higher than I should. I'm like, well, it's Cody's younger brother. I asked Skills about Grumpy and Papa Smurf. Are they related as well?
Yes. Yep. Father and son.
That's amazing. Yeah, and he described them, and I'm like, Grumpy seems like he's pretty responsible. Papa Smurf seems like he's got some athleticism to him, and like, I've played. Did you know I played in a Quest tournament just for a few days, like 6 or 7 years ago? Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. It's such a different system. You guys, Grumpy, Papa Smurf, you're gonna love this. When you fire your laser at an enemy player, it actually works. It turns them off. You're gonna love this.
What a strange concept.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's kind of why I put them over Syracuse C's. Really, it just comes down to they seem very enthusiastic. They're going to have to build continuity just coming from all these different backgrounds. But you look at Olympus from last year, like the zone team that had never played SM5, it shows that when players put in the effort over 6 days, they can figure it out if they care and they have talent. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can even place a little higher than this. I'm guessing they're going to be 9th.
It's going to be a big deal, too, I think, if they do end up living up to the expectations and finishing here, because if I look back in years past, I don't think an Armageddon-based team has ever even won a match at a Force Nats, let alone terrible. Finished above last. And I think this is the year that streak ends.
I would agree with that. I'd put money on that. You run the SM5 sports betting market, right, Cody?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, reach out to Cody, everyone.
Why isn't your name Polymarket?
I
would have figured it out. I would have figured it out.
Touchy subject.
Yeah, isn't it just Cowshy Cap?
Any final thoughts on this team, guys?
No, good luck, have fun proving wrong.
Yeah. All right. Coming in at number 8, California B, Sweets and Savory. Jumping up quite a bit in the power rank, 4.52 is what the community ranked them at. The 4th highest number of average missions in the tournament, but the second to last highest average SM5 missions in Syracuse. We got Sweets, Ender, Spooky, Anchovy, Evil Mike, and Hallinge, I'm pretty sure is how you say it. I'm the highest on them, so why don't you two lay the case for why you think they're going to be 8th?
You go, Katie.
All right. So my thought on this is similar to what some of the other podcasts have mentioned, is that a lot of the teams here are kind of broken up into tiers. I kind of have this team as the next level above the two that we just talked about. Not that I think it would be impossible for the other two teams to take a game from them. I just think that it's an uphill battle. I think with everyone on this team except for Spooky having had some experience in Syracuse and have now recently been traveling to places like Loveland and St. George to get some other out of arena experience and practice coming into the tournament, that they've kind of separated themselves from the two before them. I just am not sure if it's enough to jump the other teams that we're going to have ahead of them here. I think it's going to be a close competition with some of the teams right near them, but I'm not sure they have enough experience yet, especially in Syracuse, to quite climb that mountain yet.
Okay. Rusty, what you got?
Obviously, I've played Sweet / Nolan several times, and he's definitely a good player. I think he'll be able to carry to a point. But I think I probably put a lot of weighting on how they all did in the 25 ECT with those stats comparatively to the other teams. I'll be honest, I didn't watch any other pods and splitting teams into tiers or anything like that. But yeah, I'd agree. I think they've got a good baseline of missions. They've all been playing for longer than at least 3 years, 5 years, and then all the way down to Nolan, the old man, in 2007. It's just I think a bit of a gap between 9th and 10th and this team for me. Again, every team that I've placed in a certain position, I would love to be wrong. I'd love to just see Nolan shit on everybody and they finish much higher. But I think it goes without saying, it's going to be very important for these guys to get dialed in on their rotation as to who's playing what. And it's very important that Nolan ends up. I've got to stop calling him Nolan. Sweets plays.
You can call him Nolan.
The position that he can have the most influence in, because he's almost played, as games as the rest of his team, basically. So no, that's just what I thought. I agree with the tier thing. It's making more sense in my brain now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thankfully we're in a position in our community where I'm not looking at any of these teams. None of us are like, yeah, I hope they suck. I want this team to lose. Like we want every team to do well, and what that means is, I guess, like lots of growth and close games for everybody would be great. But yeah, we have to. That's the drama, right? Tiers are kind of. I think tiers are a little cowardly. Like, obviously there's tiers, but like when you're forced to choose, what's your reasoning? That's where the juicy drama is. Anyway, so I've made a decision that they're going to place a little higher. My reasons are, so to agree with you both, like, I do think there is this team, it's newer, right? There's not as much SM5 experience here in Syracuse. A lot of these players started more recently. And as far as the lineup goes, Nolan has been pretty open that he wants a commander tournament. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be running commander all week. When I look at these players in particular, I've met everyone except Hallinge. I'm not quite sure who's going to be on resupply. That's one of my concerns for this team. But I'm pretty excited and bullish on this team, and coming in playing for Loveland B, like we view this team with a lot of respect and reverence. Like we're not looking at them and thinking it's going to be an easy game. Basically, I know it says California B, but the way I look at this team is it's basically the San Marcos team in disguise. So I don't know if you don't know this, there is another site in US that doesn't play with us, but they practice SM5 all the time. And they have some of the players with like the highest number of games in the world. Like top 50 players are playing at this site. They just don't participate in the in the community, but they're actively playing right now. Like they're putting in practice, they're putting in team meetings from what I hear, kind of through the grapevine. So I think this team is actually coming in, taking this really seriously, actively playing, and there's at the very least, I know it's the second last as far as average SM5 experience, but you spread it out, and everyone except Spooky has been to Syracuse before, and they've all been playing recently. So like this is recent SM5 experience in Syracuse. So even though like these are not the most famous names, I actually feel like they're going to surprise people. Sweets has turned into an offensive powerhouse in the last few years, ever since he kind of stepped off resupply and was like, I want to get better at offense, putting himself in those positions. He showed out at the random draw in Loveland. Ender showed out at the random draw kind of in his debut in Syracuse back in like January, I think. I mean, they put him in the last tier, so there was some of that team balancing stuff, but like he way outperformed what people thought of him. He is definitely an up-and-coming player for the California quote-unquote site when we're combining the whole state into one site. Got to play with Spooky, formerly known as Survivor, in Lost Worlds, and you know what? It was a very busy night, but I do remember them being pretty quick and intelligent. I'm excited for Anchovy. Last time I saw Anchovy, his brain was far less developed. I saw a child. This looks like a full teenager. Like the when I did the age rankings, or like a while ago, I did a podcast episode where I was like, when do players fall off? The way that players climb when they start at like 13 coming up through 18, like players spike so much in that age range because like you're just becoming so much more intelligent and aware. So I wouldn't be surprised if Anchovy has some of the highest potential to take a leap forward on this team. Huge respect for Ebo Mike. He's a SM5 fanatic. I haven't met Hallinge, but Hallinge seems cool. So that's why I'm putting them in 7th.
The cool factor.
The cool factor.
So for
Very
you,
weighty.
Luke, I might have some breaking news for you here.
What you got?
Since you mentioned you're not sure what they're going to do about resupply.
What you
I
got?
think during the fantasy discussions that we had when we were doing the fantasy drafts that it kind of came out what their plans are.
Ooh, tell me.
It sounds like their resupply is going to be Ebo Mike at ammo and Anchovy at medic.
Okay.
That could all have been just smoke and mirrors that came up in those discussions, but it didn't seem like it. It seemed like that is at least what their initial plans are.
I don't know if we're ruining their competitive advantage very much by saying that. Like, cool. Get in there. Practice your roles. Love it. You got this, Anchovy.
Good luck, have fun.
All right. Let's rock and roll. Coming in at 7th, we got Hybriz. Well, hold on. Hold on. Quick moment for the Basil bots. Hey, love you guys. Love that you're so excited about our community. Love the fun joke. I decided to go ahead and I deleted every single Basilbot submission to the survey that I could find, which was basically every team that ranked Hybriz at 10 and every other team at 1. Very funny, big joke. Hybriz was in 4th consensus by the end of that. So the actual community power rank, and you know what? Just let that be known. I'll do it again next year. Just watch me. The actual power rank is 5.07, 6th number of total average missions, and the third highest average SM5 missions in Syracuse. However, that number is actually just little bits Syracuse missions divided by 6.
Yeah, she's got a few.
I've got them in 8th, and you guys have them in 7th. So I suppose it's up to me to explain why I have them at 8th. Okay. I guess the simplest way I can put it is I think about USA East, the team that you and I were on, Cody, in 2023. You bring in players from 3 different sites to a neutral arena, different play styles, not too many meetings, not being on the same page ahead of time. And turns out you can have players that are talented individually, but if they don't sync up and synergize well, they can lose to teams that just do that part of it better, even if maybe there's less power on those teams, quote unquote. The 5 players besides Lilbit have 0 games in Syracuse, compared to the last team where 5 of them had experience, like a whole tournament's worth. I wonder, there are some teams where you can tell who's going to be the leader. I don't know quite who that's going to be for this team. When I imagine these personalities all meshing, and I have at least met all of them, I believe, yeah, I have met all of them. I don't quite know who's the leader and like who they're going to unify under or how well they're going to unify. And maybe I worry about like, will that lead to arguments, or will that lead to disagreements over the strategies? Will they unify? My hope for them is that they will. I want everyone to do well. There's certainly huge talent on this team. By day 6, will they be able to reach their ceiling, or will they have faltered and other teams surpassed them? I think they're going to place 8th.
You can go, Cody. I'll because I can at least talk about 2 of the players here with a bit more specific, with a bit more specific feedback.
All right.
I was trying to say something else I can't with braces.
So my thoughts here, similar to what I mentioned in the last one, is that kind of having teams broken up into tiers is that 7 and 8 here, I think, are their own tier. These teams are a level above the ones below the before, and I think slightly below the ones that are going to come after. I think this team has the edge over Cali B with the amount of laser tag experience and tournament experience that Leech, Glader, Promboy, and Lilbit all have. And having Lilbit on this team is going to be a pretty good asset, especially because of the amount of games that she's played here, the amount of game knowledge that she has. She's going to be plenty able to communicate, help with call-outs, help with plans and what to do in the arena to give the rest of the team some kind of assistance for those that have never played here before. Obviously, we know how good of players that Glader and Leech are and how much potential that Promboy has. So would be shocked if they weren't the main attacking force for the team. If I don't anticipate them being like thrown at resupply or something like that. I'm expecting them to try to bull rush, overwhelm teams with just pure attacking force. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of role Vulcan and Fire Sword fill in that kind of dynamic. I think that's going to be the main kind of turning point for this team, is how well do those 2 end up performing, especially because they've never played with or even really against any of the other 4 to know how they play.
Yeah, that's fair. And I didn't even ask properly where Vulcan and Fire Sword are currently playing.
St. George.
St. George. Oh, sorry. I did know that. Yes. So they've got good players around them that they would have definitely picked up the birds and the bees from. But, Syracuse, single story, Leach played in Auckland, obviously, so he will be very used to the maziness of Syracuse, and Prawn and Glader won't have to keep looking up. They can just focus on what's in front or what's behind them. I want them to place higher than this. I really do, but I think you've all touched on what I think the problem's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of cooks in the kitchen who may or may not think they're going to contribute the best in their own way. I'm hoping they figure it out in the first couple of days as to what's going to work and what's not going to work. I think for it to work properly, someone's going to have to go, you know what, I'm not that guy. And I'm not going to say who needs to say that. I'll let them figure it out themselves. But yeah, I think just specifically Prawn Boy and Glader. Like, yeah, Glader's a great player. He plays very defensive, but if he can actually figure out how to get trucking, if he ends up playing 3 hit and do some damage, I think they'll be fine. And Prawn Boy hates defending. So depending on what he ends up playing, as long as he has a nice balance to how much attacking he does and how much defending he does, and then I think Leech can kind of fit in. I mean, he plays a really good scout. I think he'd probably add most value there. But I don't know. Like, I don't know how good Falcon, Firesword, a little bit will be. Like, someone's played 2,000 games in their own arena. You'd never just assume they're going to be going straight to 3 hit or straight to resupply, right? So hopefully they do get some time to practice and see what's going to work best. But I think if Glader plays really well and Prawn Boy can figure out where he's going to fit in best, I think they'll give a few teams some extra trouble that we wouldn't have thought they would. But if they can't figure it out, everyone thinks that they should be playing something, and then they're shitty because they're not playing this position. And then, you have a bad game, everyone gets frustrated at each other, and everyone starts yelling and screaming. They're fucked, absolutely fucked. So, I'm proud of the guys for going. It's the first Nats since 2010 where anyone from Brisbane's gone, and I haven't been there, or Traj hasn't been there as well. So, it'll be good if they can figure it out for themselves and do as good as they can. But I'll be trying to watch those games, and if I can, try and give them some feedback. I will. Whether or not they listen to it is up to them. But I did play in 2011, and we did win. So, I at least know the arena and what worked for us back then. And honestly, the fundamentals of Laserforce have not changed since 2011. You shoot them before they shoot you, kill them at the end. That's it. Keep it simple.
What?
I know.
Overcomplicating it. I want to.
It's my go-to line.
I want to say a few positive things, because there are some people who have legitimately ranked this team 6th or 5th, and like, I understand why. We talked about Prawn Boy's potential already. He doesn't need more spotlight. It's funny that you mentioned, Cody, Prawn Boy's experience, but not Vulcan. Vulcan has more tournament experience than Prawn Boy, and he's been to more arenas. He's actually, I think, in the last random draw, I think Vulcan showed that he has a particular flavor, or like a favoring and talent for offense, kind of like you just said, Rusty, with Prawn Boy. Like, I could see Vulcan filling in on Scout. Oh, were you going to say something? Cool. Firesword is such a vibe. I could see him gelling, maybe being kind of the glue for this team. I don't think he's ever going to cause any like stirs. Where I think the other 3, I think, is where the team either thrives or it dies. Little Bit brings the Syracuse experience and legacy. Like, she has valuable knowledge that this team needs to like get from her and listen to. Glader and Leech, they're both in a situation where every time I've seen them before, they have been either like a main piece or a support piece on a larger, like in a larger scene. They've had players that have more name power, name recognition, kind of pulling some of the heavier roles for them. And now they're both kind of like pulled out of that situation. And I think a lot rests on their shoulders for Leech to basically represent Auckland all by himself. And for Glader to represent Brisbane, though I know Prawn Boy's there, Glader's been playing with you guys. He came out in 2015. Like, he's been a huge part of your guys' team. Legacy in Brisbane. Will these players all be able to mesh and bring out the best in each other? Or will they think they know what's best and talk over each other and disrespect each other? I hope it's the former. And I think
That's
if they
the
do
question.
that, then absolutely. I've seen these players do incredible things. Of course they can place higher than 8th.
Yep, fun times ahead. Good luck.
Here I put in the poll, like, you could give some hot takes. So for a few of these slides, I have some hot takes from the community. Prawn Boy MVP, Prawn Boy MVP, Prawn Boy MVP. Those are 3 different comments. Someone predicts one of the A teams won't make the top team pod, and Hybrids top 4. Basilbots will be out in force from Prawn Boy. There's a non-zero chance Vulcan doesn't survive the tournament. Rook thinks, I think Briz is getting 7th, but with Glader as a top 3 player in whatever position he plays. Top 6 if Scout. And the Fear Turkey says, Fire Sword and Vulcan massively overperform compared to expectations, playing out of their skins, making Hybrids top 50.
Top 50% being
50%. 5th or higher. Yeah.
okay. All right, let's see what happens.
Cool. We'll keep on moving.
Controversial team.
Yeah. All right. In 6th place, we have Loveland Reloaded. Power rank of 5.76. 3rd highest average missions of the tournament, and 8th most, so 3rd from last, in Syracuse SM5 games. We got Sabo, Lizzie Lizard, Blackout, Celebi, Mr. Mischief, Fear Turkey, and Carson, or C. Arson. The community, Cody and I have them in 6th, and Rusty, you put us in 5th. Cody, you want to start?
All right, so I think the way that Loveland has set up their teams just in general, both A and B team, is going to make how they slot in this tournament interesting, because even if you want to lean into the fact that Loveland tends to underperform in Syracuse, and the theory that I have where the newer players that have started in Laserball have progressed faster in our arena than some of the older players have when they first started, that both teams have kind of spread out that philosophy amongst the team. There's some of the older, more experienced players on one. There's on both teams. There's some of the newer Laserball started players on both teams. I think it's going to kind of balance out the performances across the board from both teams. I think that this team is a slight leg above the 2 teams that we mentioned before. But I think they're the bottom of the next tier that I have, just based off of this is the newest crop, I would say, from Loveland. They're still dipping their toes in, for the most part, into the overall tournament scene, other than you and Josiah, who've been here forever. But with you two taking, I don't want to call it more of a back seat by playing Resupply, but more of like I'll call it a managerial role, getting the newer players some more experience. It's going to be interesting to me to see how this team performs. I think out of all the teams that are showing up this tournament, this team has the biggest range of where they can be. I think they have the lowest floor, but also the highest ceiling at the same time. They could be all over the map when it comes to this tournament, and I'm interested to see where it ends up falling.
Did you say you're playing Resupply?
Yeah. Would that change anything for you?
This information was not provided to me before I made my decision. But
you got to listen to some
digress.
podcasts, bro. The community's been pretty upset about it.
Well, let me ask you this then: if you guys are getting shit on, you're not going to change your lineup?
No. I'll lead in. Go ahead. Yeah. Would that change your ranking?
Well, maybe, because like I know Sabo and Lizzie, obviously, because they came to Brisbane, and like they've picked it up so fast for only starting in 2023. And obviously, when Lizzie came, she had only played that Nats 2 weeks after she started playing or something.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
remember what the
24.
story was, but yeah. So she's obviously 2,000 games, 2,200 games in 3 years is insane. And Josiah's just always been really polarizing for me because he's such a good player. And I thought, with you there to keep an even keel across the team if things sort of got off track, you would be able to get it back on track real quick. Now, if Sabo and Lizzie are playing better 3 hits than you and Josiah, well then, fair enough. But do I think that's going to be the case yet? I wouldn't think so. So, my caveat to my selection was you guys were more than likely, or at least Josiah was playing some kind of 3 hit. So if I knew that you guys were playing resupply and wouldn't be changing your lineup, even if you guys would be playing 3 hit, would potentially make you guys perform better, then I would probably put you 6th.
Okay.
But I still think if things are going really bad, the 3 hits aren't scoring enough points, not getting nukes off, cancelled, no one's defending you. I think just because of the type of player you are, it'll drive you fucking insane. And you're like, fuck it, Josiah's play heavy, I'm playing Commander, and we'll have a crack. I'd be disappointed if you did it because, you don't get to play Nats once a year, and that's if you can even make it every year, right? So, I want you guys to maximize how much enjoyment you get. Hopefully that also includes the winningness feeling. But yeah, I just feel like you guys are too smart, where if you can make some adjustments to make everyone enjoy the week a bit more, that I'd be very disappointed if you did. That's coming from an old man with a kid that's about to have played Laserforce for 30 years. Don't disappoint second dad. I'll never take Trajan's title. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
No, I appreciate it. Good. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Rusty. And I get it. I mean, I think if another site were doing this, I'd probably have similar reactions at first. And I've talked to Beans a little about it. There's been lots of people asking us individually and spreading things through the grapevine. So I'll say it like this. What you just said makes perfect sense if my goal were to place as high as possible. But that's not really my goal. I guess I'll put it this way. I don't know how available I'm going to be in future years, but I want Loveland to do well. And so I'm not necessarily thinking that placing as high as possible this year is what's best for future years. Me and Josiah are here to teach. I want the site to outlive me when I'm gone. I want these players to get great experience and have a great backline and instruction. And in the years where I'm sitting on the couch from home holding my 2-year-old, I want to see them kicking a lot of ass. So I'm hoping that I can start these guys off a little higher up than where I began and to see them go farther than I ever went. I think that's why we're doing it. And why, no, I would put the odds very high that we will not be moving to 3-hit, even if we are losing.
Okay. My caveat stands. I thought for sure there'd be some adjustments if adjustments needed to be made.
No worries. We can officially move you to 6th.
That's very admirable. No, I'm leaving it at 5th. It's very admirable that you would try and set your side up. Well, I mean, you do have so many young players, and you have been around for a little while now. Traveling from Australia isn't exactly the easiest thing to do, and same for you guys to come over here whenever there's a Nats. So anytime we traveled, we obviously tried to make the most of it. I don't think I could have ever come to America and played ammo already.
Honestly, man, if you listen to my podcast with Beans, I'm so excited.
Oh, it's fun.
I'm not.
Obviously played a lot of ammo in Brisbane last year, and it was kind of cool just cruising around and pulling boosts and getting medikits and whatever
Yeah.
else. But yeah, so look, at the end of the day, I think you got a good crew there. I still think you'll be able to add a lot of value from resupply. You know, telling people when to attack, defend, how much pressure, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I will leave. I'll leave it at 5th. And just know that my caveat is
Absolutely.
I
Everyone
might have
understands.
swapped it if I'd known that in advance. But
You just played out everyone else's reaction live. Like everyone's been through that. Totally get it.
okay, I'm glad everyone else is on the same page. Very good.
Now, just to comment on my team, like why I put us in 6th, we got some really good players. We have what I really like is we have so many games played in such a short amount of time on this team. Like Sabo and Lizzie live at LLT. They're just always playing. They're playing Laserball, they're playing SM5. They are such good players. They've got Syracuse experience. They went out just this last, I think, few months. Like, awesome. They got some experience and they did well. So I'm really excited to play with them. Blackout has grown massively into a good player in Loveland. That's a typo. He has no games in Syracuse. That's my bad. And I meant to hit a 0. Sully B and C Arson, newest players on the team for sure. Sully B is a fantastic, good sport. Tries really hard. She was showing out at the random draw in Loveland. She had a notebook and she was taking notes from the higher level players, like just growing so quickly. And see, Arson, he has got some really good offensive talent. I think he's going to end up being a really good commander or offensive heavy someday. Like he's got a good nose for where to attack and when. And Blackout's a total brawler. Like he is going to deal damage, whatever role you put him in. So out of all these guys, like I can see us placing higher, even with keeping the strategy and the lineup we have. The only thing I'll say is like, one, we don't have the hunger of some of these other teams. We're not here to win. We're here to learn. We have a mix of competitiveness on the team. We're obviously going to try our best, but I think some players are willing to sacrifice a little more than others, and that's okay for what we as a team agreed to. I think we also have potential for some mental boom. That's a Loveland special. Things get too intense, too competitive. We gotta go cool ourselves off, take a chill pill. There's potential for that, but on the whole, yeah, 6th.
Good luck.
All right, and then in 5th we have Loveland Altitude Issues, community power rank of 6.38.
Altitude issues.
5th most missions in total played, but the least average Syracuse SM5 missions of any team in the tournament. Sparks, Azra, Ghost, The Babe, Sergeant Tucker, Rook's 2NR, and Judoku. Rusty, you have them. Well, we all know it would have been 5th, but you have them in 6th. Cody in 5th, and me betting on Loveland in 4th. So why don't you guys take it away?
I guess I have to start. Yeah, caveat. Might have did
We
the
know,
odd swappy. And I did try and figure out a couple of the players, but like, yeah, Sparks changed their name, right?
Yep.
Did Rooks change their name?
It was just the Rook in 2024. He was a scout on the B team. But
yeah, okay. Obviously I played Tucker, the Babe, Azra. Ghost didn't come out to Nest last year, right? No.
But he was on our A team.
Yes, and that's what I also tried to kind of throw my 2 cents around. But I thought if you guys are playing 3-hit, you and Josiah, then I think I would have backed you. In. But yeah, still plenty of games, some in a very short amount of time. A lot of experience. I did see the 4 zeros of Syracuse. I mean, I still sort of think after 10, 15 games, like especially with lots of laser tag experience in other sites, people are going to pull it together pretty quickly. But just looking at the other teams I've gone with above, I still thought, 6/5 was going to be fair, just with some of the experience that other teams had, and I didn't really know who was going to be playing 3-hit for this team with you and Josiah on the other team. But Sparks sounds like it's their time. Their time to shine.
Mhm.
Let's do it. He looks a lot like Flint to me. Like, I don't know. As soon as I saw the photo, I was like, wow, that's tripping me out a little bit. But yeah, no, I think what was it? And 7 people, and that was the other thing. I've played with 7 before in Detroit, and that had its own complications around who was comfortable sitting and who wanted to play the finals and all that sort of stuff. So that was another factor, the 7 people for me. But I also do hope they do well. Sergeant Tucker, I've obviously known him for a long time. I met him in 2015. The Babe came out, Ezra came out last year. They were a lot of fun to get to know. So yeah, good luck, have fun. Loveland altitude issues. I love that name. That's so good.
Yeah, fitting. Cody?
All right, so this team is, with the exception of Tucker, who's been around a while, basically the new kids on the block at Loveland. This is the team that a lot of these players are expecting that they're going to be the next things at the Loveland site once all of the older crew starts to fade out, as it seems we're trending towards that. So they're going to have a lot of drive to make a statement at this tournament, which is one of the big reasons that I have them above the other Loveland team. I think the biggest question mark here is how well do all of them adapt to the arena and playing at a different site. Now, a lot of them started with Laserball. We know my thoughts on how that transitioned to Syracuse. So I have high hopes for them. I think that it's going to end up going well, but that's going to be something that is going to have to be found out at the tournament. The other thing is how their rotations are going to work with 7 players and what lineups they're going to run. Because the other thing with this team is most of the players on this team I could see playing most of the positions in the lineup. There's very few that I'm like, oh, well, that player's definitely not going to play this. Like, there's a lot of lineups that this team could run that I could see would make sense. It's just figuring out which one ends up actually working the best.
For sure. Okay, so Loveland Day, I know you're listening. I know you care. You're the A team, and I'm going to rip you apart on this podcast because I want you to do well. And if you're going to be on the A team, you need to be ready to hear the hard feedback. I'm not going to go soft on you guys because I want to see you do well. This group is insanely talented. They have great synergy. They have been playing so much tag compared to other sites. Like they're just playing every week, sometimes twice a week for some of them in Laserball. With your theory, Cody, like a lot of these guys play a lot of Laserball. Except for Judah. Judah hates Laserball. So Judah's easily going to be the worst player on this team because he hates Laserball. Judah, play some Laserball. But
you don't
beyond
have to
that,
play Laserball. I like you.
Judah knows,
It's
I
a
think,
fun for
highly of
life.
him. They've also gotten a significant amount of group practice, I think, compared to other teams in this tournament. Like they have, we can build teams that can at least compete with them, and so they have gotten to play together in Loveland. That's cool. Not every team gets to do that. Sparks has been showing he's insanely talented. He got the highest score from the last place team in Random Draw 26. Not everyone can do that. Azra is healthy and awesome, but healthy is huge. And she's been like leading this new wave. Like if we talk about the new kids on the block, like she began leading the team in 24. She came out to Brisbane in 25. Like she's well respected among this group. Ghost has also been becoming much more of a leader, kind of taking on the mantle of the A team that all abandoned him after 24 in Nats. The Babe is our new site lead as of last year, and he's well respected. He's got a very good head on his shoulders, and he's very talented. I want to talk about Joe in specific. So this is Joe's team. There have been so many tournaments where Joe has been a support on one of the Loveland teams, and he gets overlooked frequently. And he's taken pride that this is like his chance to actually be the captain and make the calls and do things his way. And I'm going to be honest, I disagree with a number of the ways Joe has led this team or decisions he's made, and I voiced them to him because he wanted my feedback. But the truth is that Loveland has always done better when Joe's been on the team. He has always provided valuable insight and ideas that have often gone overlooked. When we look at us winning Nats in 2024, you look at the finals game, the stuff we did on offense, Ghost getting 11 medic hits, cool. A lot of that was just the way that the defense set us up. The way that the defense absorbed the enemy 3 hits was largely based on Joe's planning. Like, Joe played a huge role in that team, planning it. And he now gets to plan this team out, play his ideas out without being challenged so much the way we always have or being doubted. And I want to have a lot of faith in him. I think Rook he sees the game differently than most people. I think he has an incredible ability to innovate positions. And Judah is always the emotional glue, and he's able to synergize super well with anybody. Got to shout them all out. Here's where I am worried about them. I admit that I am actually projecting them to hit this spot, but I can easily see a few ways that they fall short, partially because of all the past ways I've seen Loveland fall short. They have a huge lack of arena experience, and they're taking 7. So because they're going to be rotating, they're going to have to be learning the arena and building synergy like in staggered ways all tournament. And that's if they keep the same positions. If they switch up their positions a ton, we got problems. Like, it's one thing to be the home A team and to have 7 when you can practice that a bunch. If you're going in and you're trying to challenge, because like these guys have podium aspirations. If they want to make podium, like they are going to have to play as though they are natives to this arena. They're going to have to not be thinking so much about the muscle memory. And I'm worried that the rotations are going to badger their ability to build the synergy and the arena experience they need. I think they struggle with communication sometimes. Sometimes communication to them is just screaming at the top of their lungs where certain players are. I'd like to see them learn to react off of each other's communication in a little better ways. And some of them don't communicate very much at all. So it's either too much communication or too little communication. They need to shore that up. Lastly, the emotional boom, the Loveland special. Everyone on this team, except Judoku, has some ability to mentally tilt that has come out in practices. And I think a huge piece of it is that many players at the Loveland site are driven by ego and a desire to prove people wrong. When people have doubted this team, these guys have gotten pretty offended and butthurt. Like they want to prove everyone wrong about them. They want to show, no, we're the real A team. We can beat you guys. We can live up to the competition. And I think playing for that reason is going to prevent them from playing for each other. It's going to prevent them from playing for the win. It's a self-centered motivation. I've told them, like, you guys, if you're the A team, you can't care about the haters. You've got to overlook this. Because people are going to doubt you. It's just going to happen. So if they can do all those things, I think they're talented enough to take podium. They just have to figure out all the X factors. I trust Joe.
Good summary.
Cool. Any thoughts on that?
Watching. I mean, it sounds sort of similar to Hybrids for me. I don't know. Maybe they could be just certain things that if they get it right, they're going to do potentially much better than if they get it wrong.
I will say I liked you mentioning that everyone on the team has some kind of tendency to tilt except for Judah, because Judah's like the chillest player I think I've ever seen. So that could be like a good barometer for the team. Like if it reached the point where Judah was tilting, then they're at DEFCON 1. The disaster has struck. There is a calamity going on. So that's kind of it could be the good barometer for how the week is going.
If Judah tilts, we cancel Nats again.
Fake Nats again. Damn it.
All right, here is the hot takes for Loveland. Loveland B will outperform Loveland A in the standings, even though Bradley Sparks will be the best performing player from their site. Loveland A loses to Loveland B. Loveland B beats Loveland A. Mischief and Turkey play 3 hits for an easy win against the other Loveland team. And then one pro Loveland A comment. People are sleeping on Loveland A because they feel Josiah and Luke would make an insane difference. Those same people won't check the stats site to see Josiah and Luke lost to those kids 3 times in a row in 6v6 games. Just because you're upset doesn't mean it's not a strong roster.
Interesting.
Cool. All right, so that's been some of the drama I was talking about, Rusty. All right, Syracuse, no lives from Jackal. Syracuse B, power rank 6.5. 7th in average total missions played, so we got some newer players here, but the second most Syracuse SM5 games. Zerg, Jackal, Crackshot Fox, Fenrir, Alex Boxes, and Disco Stew, and I have them in 5th. So, why 5th? Look, there's a lot of great things I can say about this team. Really excited for Zerg and Jackal, who I presume are going to be the 3 hits. I think Fox could be a very crafty scout or resupply, but I actually see him more on scout. He knows all the angles. He knows where to stand to just take advantage of his 3 hits doing tons of damage. I really haven't met Fenrir or Alex Boxes, but they're on the B team, and I've seen them in the random draw tournaments, so that's cool. My favorite addition to this team that I think transforms it in some positive ways is Disco Stew. Bringing the leadership and the good mental. But I got to talk about the negatives because I'm projecting them 5th. Syracuse has not had much time to prepare for this tournament. Lack of preparation, I think, is a big thing. Loveland, who I just put above them, has been practicing, frankly, much harder than this team. Not saying they care more, but in terms of getting in the arena, that's been an advantage. I think there's been a gap in play frequency and recency for some of these players. Like, I saw Zerg, Jackal, Fox like in 21. How much have they been playing since then? It's been pretty sparse from what I can tell. I do wonder about their team structure, their team meetings, how much effort they've been putting in leading up to the tournament. And when we get past Zerg and Jackal, can the 1-hits live up? I think Fenrir and Alex Boxes are going to be the big question marks. I'm not saying I doubt you guys, but I don't know you very well. And the competition that would be required to beat to put you in 4th or higher is going to be really tough. Like, players that are trying out of their minds. So can you handle the heat? And can you actually, I don't know, can you win the trades? Those are my questions. And so I think they're going to falter and place the bottom of the upper bracket.
I did do some statting, and I did see that Zerg and Jackal have been doing pretty well. Fenrir also, I mean, Fox was playing when I went to my Nats there in 2011. Like, you're right, he knows that place inside and out. I don't know much about Alex, but you know, nearly 1,500 games of Space Marines in the arena.
It's a good chunk.
Almost as many as Fox. Yeah, it's a huge amount. And then, you know, I understand where you're coming from with the sort of the lack of play time, but still, once you've played more than a couple of 100 games in an arena, you kind of know it. And then, like, Stu has played 370 games in Syracuse. Like, it's a lot. And if I know Stu, as soon as they organized this team, they would have had a group chat going this whole time. I'm sure they're all kind of at least on the same page with what they're doing and how they're going to do it. Yeah, I just think home field advantage with just a lot of experience and some cooler heads will keep it together. And you already touched on with what could potentially go wrong with the other teams that we've placed, or Cody and I have placed under them. I feel like it's less likely to happen with these guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys play. But yeah, plenty of games, which was a big factor in why I put them in fourth.
All right. Well, so I know one of the big negatives, like Luke mentioned, is the lack of practice time we've been having recently. But as much as it would probably be better if they got more games in than we did, I don't think that's as big a factor as it sounds like, because the practice that we have done, they have been looking very good in those. Like the last practice we had on, what was it? I think it was last Sunday was, I think, the first time we actually had all three teams in the building at the same time. They were doing very well that day. They were even in the couple games that they played against our A team were giving us a little bit of a run for our money. It wasn't like it wasn't like it was a cakewalk for us. We won both games, but we weren't. They didn't make it easy by any means, which is a big deal considering, as you'll see when we get there, the amount of experience that is on our A team. So I think this team is very likely to perform well. They've all played tons of games here. This is all their home site other than Stu, but the amount of times that Stu has traveled here in the last year, 2 years, basically, it might as well be his home site at this point. I think this team is going to perform very well. I think I could even see them edging it out to get higher than this. But I mentioned the whole tiers thing. I think this team and the two Loveland teams are all at the same tier, and I actually think that out of all the tiers that I have, the gap between them within the tier is the closest of any of them. I could very easily see the two Loveland teams in this finishing in any order of the three, and it would not shock me at all. I just think if I was a betting man, I'd be putting my money where the order that I have it at right now.
Cody, if anyone in our community is a betting man, it's you. Cool.
Very good.
Cool. Good to move on?
Yep.
All right. Number 3, California Olympus. Power rank jumping up to 7.97. Second most average total missions in the tournament. 5th most average Syracuse SM5 missions. We got Kodama, Odin's Fist, Disco Monkey, Dill, question mark, Death Knight, Applesauce, and Autumn. Maybe just to quickly touch on that, we've been using all of our news outlets to track the most recent updates in our widespread community. And Dill is officially questionable for this tournament. And even if they can make it, most recent word is they won't be able to show up until Tuesday of the tournament. So Dill on the team, Dill not on the team, we don't know. And I think we all get to have that caveat on if you're going to change a rank, say it. If it changes based on whether Dill shows up or not. But I have them the highest at 2nd. You guys have them in 3rd with the community, so take it away.
All right. So I think I was one of the ones that moved them based off of Dill's status. I did originally have them in 2nd. But with Dill, even if he is going to be there, sounding like not going to be there the first day, Dill has been out of play for a while because of the military and hasn't played here since 2021. So having to get reacclimated to playing in a tournament setting and get reacclimated to playing in our arena while missing practice night and the first day of competitive games, it's going to be a quick adjustment that he's going to have to make. And I think that is going to be a detriment to their playing potential. I think personally, if Dill was going to be there 100% for the entire weekend, everything involved, I would have this team in 2nd. But with that question mark in the air, I think that they're going to get just edged out, and they're going to finish in third. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, even if Dill didn't show up at all. If this team still has plenty of experience, a lot of them have been playing here consistently. Basically, the Cali crew has been traveling here a ton in the last year, 2 years or so. So they all got plenty of experience. They got plenty of games in the arena. They've got plenty of tournament experience in general. That even if Dill didn't show up at all, it still wouldn't necessarily shock me if they finished above where they are here. I'm just kind of looking at all the factors that are surrounding this team and making my decision based off of that.
Yeah, lots of experience. I've played all of them, which is kind of rare to say. There's been so many teams I'm lucky to know one player. I think if they get their lineup right, they're gonna cause a lot of problems for everybody. Yeah, Dill, the giant man, he is. I just remember him being a very, very, very good player. So if he's not there, that's obviously going to change things a little bit. And I think the reason why I've stuck with third is just because they don't all get to play together regularly. And I think when you're sort of getting to the pointy end of the tournament, that will have a factor in the sort of minor little bits and pieces you need to go your way if you're going to come out on top. Like, I think you can have lots of really good people playing together who have played for a long time that are just going to do really, really well. But then if you run into a team that has a lot of really good players and they play together all the time, I just think it's going to be a little bit too hard to overcome. So I still think they're going to be good for third. But again, I was umming and ahhing between Syracuse B and these guys as to where I was going to sort of sit them. So let's go California Olympus. I'm quietly confident you're going to have a fun week with who's on the team as well, which is good.
Okay. Yep, definitely a lot there. I do need to start with the most important thing. It is the team name. So California Olympus has chosen to take the team name of a team that played literally last year. And it wasn't a team that we all disliked. It wasn't a team that didn't deserve it. It was a full new zone team of players we're trying to bring into the scene, welcome them in, and they had an epic run. Like, they nearly took out the 5th place team in finals. Like, I am a huge fan of the original Team Olympus. Now, I've been told, but Luke, this is the name of our actual site. We're going to be called Olympus Laser Tag, because it's going to be like Greek mythology based. Well, I went ahead and I wrote out some team names that you could have used instead that I think would be even better than California Olympus, just so you know. So first of all, the California Argonauts, which if any of you have never heard of that, the Argonauts are actually a legendary band of heroes from Greek mythology who set sail to retrieve the Golden Fleece, which sounds exactly like what these guys are doing, on an epic quest to obtain the golden trophy, right? So we could have been the Argonauts, we could have been the Thunderbolts, the Hydras, the Myrmidons, that's a cool name, the Titans, the Demigods, the Athenas, the Minotaurs, the Myths, just to throw some out there for you guys. You did not have to steal Team Olympus, and that is why I have them in second.
I'm sure they're going to take that on board for future team names, Jason.
Okay. So I'll start with the negative. Like, I agree. The California players, unfortunately, do not get to play very often. These guys, they're less associated with the San Marcos crowd, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know how actively they get to play unless they go travel, which many of them did come all the way out to Syracuse to practice. That's a good thing. I also think that we are mixing groups of players from California that don't always play together. I think I don't know. We kind of have a continuation from the 2021 California roster in Syracuse from Fake Nats. Adding in, I believe, Disco Monkey and Autumn are new additions to that team. So I'm kind of imagining they're going to continue where they left off, putting Kodama in the Soy Boy commander role and putting Disco Monkey in the Kodama scout role. I actually made a decision that here's where I'm going to talk about Autumn a little bit. Dill did a fantastic job in that role, played like a defensive scout on that team. If Dill doesn't show up, I actually think it may make the team better. And it's not a knock to Dill. It's a knock to 7-man rosters when you're an away site. And I imagine that if you put Autumn in the defensive scout role, I'm like, that is exactly her skill set. And she probably would do a better job of communicating than Dill would, even in that role. With her experience in that arena, I could see her thriving. This team, when they all put their heads together, are some of the most talented players in the whole world. Amazing experience, amazing innovation towards the game, just top-level talent at every position. So I could like speak all their praises. You know, I love the synergies that we get between different levels of players. I think the big thing that makes me really excited for this team potentially is the fact that they took a lot of these players took third in 2024. I cannot imagine how much that haunts these players, that they came in 2024, built a big team, and like fell short right at the very end, being the second place team, even taking the game off of Loveland Phoenix just like hours before, and then finding themselves in third. DK has been outward about how much he wants to win. DK is very hungry this year. I don't know about everyone else. I imagine they're all pretty hungry, but I don't know. I don't know. I think that these guys all love tag and are going to try really hard, but I also can see the personalities not always mixing together super well. So I think they're going to actually place, I think they're going to make the finals, and then they're going to lose in the finals. That's my guess.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, and Sneaky thinks California A will win it all, which, real quick, Sneaky, I was so excited for you to play with Armageddon. I can't believe it. I'm so sorry about our country right now. I'm so looking forward to future years when we can get you guys.
I don't know if it's our government's fault or his government's fault for why this is falling through, but whoever's it is.
But it's not your fault, Sneaky.
There's only one government's fault, but let's segue out of politics real quick.
Okay. Second consensus place, we have the Utah Heat Seekers. Here's where I have to tell myself, Luke, you're not a coward. You gotta speak your mind. Power rank community, 8.38. While having the third least number of average missions in the tournament and the sixth most average SM5 missions in Syracuse. Snuffles, Slaughtermelon, Cope With It, Metalface, Chaser, Meds, and Rockwood. Y'all have them in second. I have them winning the tournament. I'll let you guys take the floor.
I can go. Yeah, I just don't. I'll be shocked. Not shocked. They could win it. They could win it. I did and ah about it, but I just think. Well, I guess we all know who I picked to win. I suppose we can kind of talk to that point. But yeah, there's just so much experience with the team I selected above this. But like Snuffles and Slaughtermelon, I assume are playing 3 hits together. And, you know, when you have 2 really strong players that can play well together in 3 hit, you know, I kind of think back to when I played heavy commander heavy with Traj, and you sort of don't have to worry about if someone's going to be attacking or defending. It makes a huge difference to how the rest of the team can operate and have, I guess, less responsibility. You can have more things go wrong if you can get a double nuke to get you out of trouble kind of thing, or if all it takes is one good nuke and a nice medic run by the heavy and the medic's dead, and you can kind of dig yourself out of a hole a little bit. But I think with getting to be able to play against them consistently every week, just means everybody else on that team is going to be very good as well. So, it's not an accident that if you play against the best people, generally the whole site sort of lifts with it at the same time. And like I said, I was umming and ahhing about it for a little bit, as to whether or not I was going to put them in potentially winning it or second, but I just think the double zeros of not playing in Syracuse versus a team of 7 Syracuse A players who play there every week might just be too much of a hill to climb. But if they don't finish at least second, I'll be surprised.
All right, so I'm going to come right out and start with the fact that Caleb and Snuffles playing 3-hit together in our arena, I think is, at least out of everyone that I've seen play in Syracuse, arguably, if not the strongest 3-hit pairing you can have from everyone who is not from our site. So that is 100% a huge asset to have coming into a tournament playing here. The rest of the team all have tournament experience as a whole for the most part, other than Cope, but he's been developing into the Force scene, and he's got, in general, tournament experience by playing in Armageddon for many years. 3 of them in Cope, Metalface, and Chaser have all been out in Syracuse recently with the shindig that we ran last year, so they've been getting some games in here. Meds and Rockwood both played in 24. They've got Nats experience as a whole. I think this is like their year. They're going to have enough from all the practice that they've had together recently. The leadership from Caleb and Snuffles, they're going to have enough to edge out California, especially if Dill is not fully in the picture. Even if Dill was, I think this team would have the potential to beat them anyway. But I think this is just going to be the time that they get the edge out here. I just don't think that they have enough, at least this year, to, like Rusty said, edge out a team of 7 Syracuse A players at our own site.
Okay. All right. It feels a little crazy to say it. I'm just going to be honest. Like, it feels crazy to sit here and say that the team that has, like, not only the 6th most Syracuse missions, but like the 8th most experience in Laserforce in general is going to win the tournament. There's a lot of logistical things that kind of that you would normally frown upon when looking at a team. Truthfully, like, I think one of the negatives is I don't think these players are the most powerful individually. I don't consider this a stacked roster. For like Metalface, Chaser, Rockwood, they came out to our random draw and they ended up kind of around that group 4, like individually when you rank them as players. And I think they played pretty close to that. They lack field experience and tag experience. Like, this is these things matter. They impact little decisions you make in the game. But it all starts with a practice game that I saw, Cody. It's a practice game where they had Baden and Cope on scout, and you guys had killed their medic out, and your medic had 9 lives left. And I see this team just kick into gear, start running your team down, and it turns into one of the most epic back and forths until at the very end, they arrive on top. I have such massive respect for this team based on what I think I'm going to summarize it as the site culture. I think Snuffles and Slaughtermelon have created the best site culture that we currently have in the tournament scene. And it's one that I very much hope that Loveland can emulate as we proceed down in the future. They are the best team, in my opinion. United under the leadership of Snuffles and Slaughtermelon, everybody is in on the mission, and I don't perceive anybody letting their ego get in the way of doing what needs to be done. It's not about them getting the individual MVP trophies or the All-Star trophies, looking good themselves. The 3 hits on this team are going to be Snuffles and Slaughtermelon. And everyone else's job is going to be built around the team plan to support them doing their roles well. This team is willing to innovate. They have a lot of contingency from Nats 2024. It's basically the same roster. We replace Thunder with Cope With It and Rockwood. That's a big loss, losing Thunder from the Utah site, the Utah team. But Cope With It seems like he is right in there with the same mentality as all the other guys, and he has that experience in Syracuse. Also, he made a really cool rap video where he roasts all the different laser tag systems, and I think Rockwood has been overlooked in the past. He's never played on the A team from what I can tell, and I think at times he's underperformed or even come across as kind of lax. But from what I see, he's bought into the energy. He's taken this just as seriously as everybody else, and I think we're going to see his best tournament. They've been meeting frequently. They have been practicing frequently. They have been exercising. They have been building their friendship outside of the arena. It is everything you'd want in a team. And the last thing is that they believe they can do it. I said a bunch of negative things about them right here. Like I at least about Metalface, Chaser, and Rockwood. I said, you know what? I think you guys, your power rank in the random draw was around a 4. The thing is, I think they don't care enough about what I have to say to give up on the team. Like, they're not going to let a guy like me shake them from their mission. I truly believe that. So it's all mental. And seeing the evidence play out, I think they are going to innovate, have the strongest growth throughout the week, and be this really just unbreakable force by the end. That's my belief.
Compelling case.
We'll see how it plays out.
I gotta say, Rusty, just real quick, it's a little bit something that I gathered from watching Brisbane. I asked you what made Brisbane so special last year on our podcast, and you said you have a lot of talented players. I think that's partially the truth. I think the other piece of it is that you guys, you hold yourselves to the highest standard of all the sites. When one of your players makes a mistake, you tell them. We don't play like that. We play at a high level.
Yeah,
you're there to win, and you're not letting anything stop you from doing that.
I tell him every Monday. That's what I just sort of touched on before. Like, if you have 2 really good players, there's no arguing around who's playing what. It's just a formality. I'm not going to use the word respect, because I don't think necessarily it was out of respect. It was just like, it'd be a pointless argument if at the peak of Brisbane anyone was saying, well, I want to play heavy instead of trad, or I want to play commander instead of me, for example. Like, there was never any drama. And then we could kind of set the scene like you've sort of touched on, where it's like, well, we want you to play, this will be scout, blah, blah. We think this is going to work best. And people are just like, yeah, okay. Like, I can resonate with what you've just said about their team, because they'll have the same respect. They can kind of go, this is what we're going to do, and who's going to complain about it? And if it doesn't work, guess what? They'll change it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, no, it definitely resonates with me with where they're at, and that's why I've put them second.
Absolutely. Lastly, Meds is going to feast in this arena. I'm excited to see what Meds does with this arena. Someone thinks Utah will have 3 all-star position players. All right. The Syracuse Ninja Turtles, Syracuse A. Power rank consensus is 9.03. Number 1 in total average missions, and number 1 in total average Syracuse SM5 missions. Oguri Cap, Black Hammer, Beans, Evil, Britain, Do Not Pass Go, and the Merlin. And I got to start.
I'm just losing it at Sanchez.
I just forgot that you actually. I should have clicked. Yeah, first, second, third. Okay. By all means, sir.
Okay. What good things can't I say about like you guys' power level? I think day one you're gonna walk in and you're gonna kick everyone's butt. All the experience, and strangely enough, you're also the most experienced players, even in a neutral sense. Like you're just the most experienced team. You guys have been playing around a long time, and I kind of view you as the ancient temple guardians of the Syracuse site. You guys have walked these hallways of this maze for, we're close to being able to say decades. We're at like 15 years ish for a lot of these players. It's crazy. I certainly view you as the most stacked roster. You have the most individual power. You know the arena strategies. You have home field advantage. Absolutely. Cody, I think this is your time to shine. You've been practicing, you've been traveling, and now you're going to have a chance to play with the home field advantage. I could see you being the MVP of the tournament. Like I think you're going to play fantastically. Beans, like you said, Rusty, it's his time to shine. I have a lot of respect for Evil. I think he can potentially sub in on 3 hit on this team, though I project him as the scout. Black Hammer, very aggressive. I have great trauma from 2016 playing against him, and that was 10 years ago. Was glad to see Lenny travel last year. Britain's very good. And Merlin, it's his house, right? I go back to that game I saw with Utah able to take a game off you guys in a practice. And I go back to the game with, most recently you had your B team with Baden helping them out. And it was a very close game. Even this early, I'm already seeing cracks in the armor. I'm using those games to get some sense of like where you guys are at, because you could be the first place team, but by how much? There's certainly a feel that you guys are in the same tier or near the tier of California A and Utah. And I worry about a few things in particular. I worry about the lack of structure. I think this is partially a personality thing. I think having strong structure on a team is really important nowadays in SM5. And kind of what Beans was sharing and kind of how the site plays, like you're all very feel it as you go players. Let's just see how this works. Let's try this thing. I worry that as people begin to try to counter you, you're not going to be trying to counter them. By the way, I told Beans, I'm rooting for you guys. We see what happens when I know what it's like to defend your home site. We saw what happened to DK in like 2017 when he lost to Brisbane. Like it hurts. Like I can't imagine if we had lost in 24. I don't want you guys to lose. I want you to defend. So I'm trying to tell you right now, like, I think teams are going to begin to figure you out, but I don't know how much you're going to begin to figure out the other teams. Are you going to sit down and talk about Kodama keeps breaking in by using this maneuver? How are we going to reposition our team to stop that? Or Caleb and Dallin did this double push, but here were the tells that they were about to do it. How can we prepare for that next time? I'm worried that you guys aren't going to have those conversations. I think you should. And just like the B team, there's been gaps in play recency. You have tons of games, but it's over a long period of time, and it's not been so recent. So I'm worried that kind of like when we hosted West Coast in 22, we had a lot of experience on our Loveland A team, but it was like not recent experience, and we got smashed. We took 4th. I'd love to see you guys, like I'd love to see that you're practicing now, but a part of me worries that the other teams want it more than you do, and that it's going to show. I even saw in that practice game, and I'm saying this because I want you guys to win, I saw a lot of walking. I saw some lazy play in those practice games that I saw in the video against Utah. And I didn't see the B team over video, but like, I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't. So take this as I hope, a word of caution. Don't be cocky. Like, you got to really fight for this one. So, because there's some teams that are coming in who want to take this from you.
Okay, I'll go because Beans. It's time to shine. That's why I said Beans in the first place. I think, well, I'm hopeful. Like everyone's getting older on that team, right? And I can speak to experience. There's still, like, you can still contribute at a high level, but as you get older, it gets harder. It really does. So, and again, you don't get to host Nats all the time. And there would be nothing worse than to lose your home Nats. So when I made this choice and picked you guys as first, it was on the basis that everybody would be just absolutely frothing to just shit on everybody as fast as possible every game. I know we didn't necessarily do that in our Nats last year in Brisbane with me and Taipam playing resupply, quite a big chunk of that. But I do think the other two teams that I've put behind you guys can absolutely turn things around and cause you guys to have huge issues if you're not putting 100% in. So I picked first on the basis that you guys were just going to go super hard the whole time. And I feel like, with the amount of games you've played there, you guys would hate to lose any games. So I feel like you'll adjust if you have to. But if you guys haven't got your right lineup set with this much experience at this point in time, it would be a bit of a concern. But I think you guys will have figured it out fairly well. So that's why I've gone with you guys first. But you definitely can't get complacent. I didn't really have that information around the practice games, and if you guys aren't running for resets and trying to cut people off and just stomp the medic into the ground, well, the other team's going to do that to you for sure. They're all like, especially the other two teams behind you that I put. They're all fit. They're frothing. They're hungry. They absolutely want to pump. So you guys just have to pump harder. But still, I think you guys are going to do it. I'll just be very surprised if you guys don't. So good luck, have fun.
Okay, so I'm a start off by playing a little bit of defense here. So Luke mentioning the practice game that we had against Utah. I personally, and granted, I am biased, don't think you can really put much weight into that. And there's a few main reasons why. Firstly, we had a different person playing medic that game, who is somebody who's not even playing in Nats at all. And even if they were, they're not somebody that normally plays medic. So it is a significant difference than having Lenny play medic, who is such a big communicator for the team as well.
That's fair.
On top of that, Utah had Baden subbing in for them in that game. And I think on an individual basis, Baden is the best player in our arena that isn't from Syracuse. And I think there's kind of a decent gap there at this point with how much Baden has been playing in Syracuse. And not to offend any of the Loveland players outside of Caleb and Snuffles, but putting Baden at scout is kind of a significant upgrade than what they have right now at scout in Syracuse's arena. So us barely losing that game with those two substitutions and us running a lineup that we're probably not going to be running, spoiler alert, I don't think you can really put too much weight into that. The other one with the practice games that we just had recently, the one that we almost lost wasn't really us playing the B team. It was more us playing the next 6 best players that were in the building at the time. And afterwards, I'm like, first of all, while I don't think that this game should be close, we should still be winning this game somewhat comfortably. I think if that was a team that was showing up to Nats, they're getting second in the tournament. So losing a close or winning a close game, isn't what we want. I don't think it's the end of the world. And we're going to have another practice this week to hopefully resolve any of that. Now, to start playing some offense here, if I look back at 2021, the last time that we hosted a somewhat major tournament here, the last time we hosted an event where there was set teams, we ended up winning. Utah got second. We also random drew our lineup pretty much the entire tournament.
Callie got
And
second.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot. It was flipped because Thunder got hurt in finals. Yes, I forgot about that. They were the number 2 seed going into finals. I should say that.
Yes.
And while we were random drawing our lineup the entire tournament, we only lost one game. That one game was to Utah, but that was also the one game that Beans sat out, and we drew one of the worst possible lineups we could have drawn on top of Beans sitting out. I also personally think that the team that Utah brought that year, which had both Thunder and Tandor on the team, is a slightly better team than what Utah has this year, even with Caleb and Snuffles being better now than they were then. I also think that our team this year is better than our team was that year. So looking at that, on top of the fact that we have no intentions of messing around this tournament, we have no intentions of random drawing our lineup the whole time. We plan on running as strong of a lineup as we can the entire week, with the only caveat of fitting in our 7th to make sure they have enough games in case they're needed for finals. Until I see otherwise, with our full strength team against one of the teams that are coming in, I can't see us, at least easily, being beat. And I gotta have, on top of that, I gotta have that confidence coming in, given that it's my own team. So gotta have the drive and the confidence going in.
That's why I picked you number 1. I'll call Bean separately. Make sure he's got the same mindset.
Well, I love the confidence, man, and sincerely, I hope you smash.
Me too.
Hope we do too.
You could do it. You could do it.
All right.
Get Merlin the going away present. I love that you've got the dog there. Oh, put that there. That's so good.
I also can't get over Britain's picture just being his head photoshopped onto my body.
Didn't click that.
That's
He's either got a really big head or you've got a really little neck. Just by design.
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing controversial except for Luke's top 3.
Yeah, nothing.
But I think that was by design. I like it.
Well, let's get to the end screen so we can kind of review everything and wrap this thing up. We do have some hot takes. Syracuse A will start off strong but not win in the end. Syracuse takes podium but not first place or even second. Oguri Cap wins MVP. Beans has a stroke as a result. Beans makes a miraculous recovery and finishes All-Star Scout and third next year in Czechia. That will be yet another reminder that announcing a retirement or one last go is cliche and never goes as planned. Ain't that the truth? Beans will get peer pressured into playing Commander in finals. Beans will not suffer a gnarly injury he has to play through.
I didn't write that.
All right, I need to know who it was who wrote that third one because that whole thing is hilarious, and I need to give whoever that was props. That's great.
Leave a comment. It was anonymous, but leave a comment if you want to identify yourself. We have some dark horse teams. We can rapid fire this.
Yep.
You both put Loveland Reloaded, so why don't you start? You think Loveland Reloaded has dark horse potential of doing far better than people project?
Well, I may have changed that with the other information, but I think it's still relevant because if I knew you were playing resupply, then I still think you could potentially be a dark horse either way. So, you've got a great balance. Like I said, Sabo, Lizzie, played with them at heaps of games already. You and Josiah, lots of experience. It could go either way, or you could just absolutely stomp on some people unexpectedly, which I would love to see.
All right, so here's my thoughts on it. So, I'm well aware that you two are playing resupply, you and Josiah, for likely the whole tournament. My thought with it is I know it was mentioned earlier where Rusty was like, you guys are getting rolled or whatever, something's not working, get frustrated, switch to 3-hit or whatever, and you're adamant that that's not going to happen. I don't view it like that. I view it as I could see there being a game or two or whatever that you and Josiah move to, even if it's not 3-hit, to scout. And I don't see it as a we're losing, this is frustrating move. I see it as a tactical decision where you're playing a team that maybe you're close to in the standings. Maybe they're getting a little bit complacent. So you throw something different at them just to catch them off guard and maybe steal something from them that they're not ready for before going right back to what you were doing before. And I think that could be enough of an edge, especially I mentioned with how close I have you guys to the teams that are around you, that if you were to catch somebody sleeping like that, that could be a complete difference in the standings. And that was my thought process behind it.
Well, love the vote of confidence. Could definitely happen.
welcome.
Has anyone considered that maybe I'm washed and I'm only good for podcasting nowadays?
Well,
You think about
unfortunately, I
that.
am not allowed to believe that anyone's washed until I see it personally. So
Better to be safe
Contractual
than sorry.
obligation. All right. I put in sweets and savory. I just I think that coming into the tournament, they might be one of the most put together, structured, and hungry teams that we got. I mentioned that these aren't big names, but they are playing frequently. They're meeting frequently, at least from what I hear. And there's talent on the team, like unspoken potential. Really like Spooky, Hallange, and Anchovy in particular. I don't know. I don't know what they're capable of. And what if they are really talented, you know? I could see them like, I'm not predicting it, but I could see them winning most of their games against my team and pushing for the winner's bracket. I think it's possible.
We shall see.
And of course, the Basilbots put Hybrids as their dark horse team.
Okay, next.
Next. Yep. All right, here's the end screen. Let's go final thoughts and we'll wrap up the show here. What do you guys got? Just kind of anything you got.
I absolutely love the thought that me switching Utah and Cali at the last second, like literally an hour before the show, made it so that I completely matched the community rankings.
Yeah, the community rankings were really vanilla this year. They
That's
basically stayed in the
interesting.
middle of everything.
Very good. No, I'm just 10 teams. Great field to be playing in. I hope everyone has a good time. I will have a bit of FOMO. I hope no one gets injured or sick. And yeah, good luck. Have fun, everybody. Let's see some interesting games.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, that will wrap up our show. So if you liked the video, leave a comment and give your feedback, your hot takes. Still love to hear it down below. During the tournament, I will plan to be doing the, what do I even call it? I do a little series where I just every day try to post a Zap report. Won't be anything fancy, just like, here's how the tournament's going. Here's some standout players. Here's the trends. So keep an eye out for that if you're watching from home or at the tournament. And yeah, good luck, have fun, everybody.
Hold your gun up.
Oh, and Patreon. Patreon up there in the red. You should help Lovelanders attend the tournament because this is expensive.
That is a good cause. Good shout.
All right. Thank you guys for coming on. It was an honor. Looking forward to the tournament.
Yeah, can't wait.
Awesome. I will be watching the best I can from my time zone. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Good luck. Have fun. Talk soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Force Pro Sports. Subscribe to the channel and get cool perks by supporting our Patreon. Play Laserforce and become part of this era's next great sport.